Hi guys, how you doing? Just want to touch base with our daily message. You're going to see a little bit of an infographic coming your way about this message here today, but it's about red, yellow, green light foods, sort of like a traffic system. I want you to start being a little bit more aware of what you're eating, and as you're tracking, you're starting to get a sense of what are your green light foods, your yellow light foods, your red light foods. Let's say your goal is getting through this traffic signal. So that means you want to have a lot more green light foods. Whereas if it's a red light, you're probably going to be further away from your goal. You're going to have to stop. Your progress is not going to proceed as you'd like. So those are sort of the red lights, and the green lights is something that's, have more of as much as you can, because that's actually going to help you towards your goal. So that being said, it is a spectrum, green to red. It's not sort of a discrete category, but we tend to find more whole foods on the green side of things. That's the foods that are minimally processed, the whole grains. Actually, sorry, I shouldn't say whole grains, but the more or less processed foods. So you have the vegetables, the fruits, the lean proteins, and that sort of thing. So you have pretty much as you want. Now that it lines up with our goal and our process anyways, and it's something that the more you have, the more likely you are to get towards your goal. Whereas the other end of the spectrum tends to be more processed foods, packaged, and all that sort of thing. And those things are either bad for your health or bring you away from your goal. Or if you tend to have one of them, you're gonna overeat. You're gonna have to abstain from those red light foods because you're more likely to overeat. So an example might be an Oreo cookie. If you have one, you end up polishing off the whole roll. That probably is going to end up as a red light food for you, because if you have a little bit, you have a lot, and it really throws you off of your goal. Now, I'm not saying that if that ended up happening that you need to judge yourself, you need to be upset about it. I'm always saying get back on the horse and keep going. But the point is that if we can be aware, if we can pre-plan, the more likely that we are avoiding red light foods, the more closer we're going to get to our goal, and the quicker we'll get there. So red light foods, also things are bad for your health. There's not a lot of foods that are necessarily bad for your health, but if you think of something like a trans fat, it's been found to be bad for your health. It's saturated. It's too saturated. It doesn't help with your arteries and that sort of thing. There's not a lot of things, as I said, on that list, but the pre-packaged, the processed foods tend to be on that end of the spectrum. If you're having, let's say, a whole party-sized pizza to you every day, that's probably going to end up on the red light list for yourself. So things that you're likely to overindulge in, things that are overly processed, things that have too many calories versus how many nutrients and vitamins they have. And again, things that are not generally helping you to move closer towards your goal. Now, there's sort of that gray area in between that's a yellow light foods, things that you can have maybe a little bit of and you're not going to overindulge. So things that you can moderate. This also tends to be where a lot of like the foods that are marketed online and on TV and that such, that they tend to be sort of the gray area. They're a little bit healthier than some of the red light foods, but maybe they're not as healthy as some of the green light foods. And by healthy, I mean having a lot of nutrients per calorie, or having the type of things that we need to move towards our goal. So you have the yogurt parfaits, the Nutri-Grains, the granola bars, mixed nuts. These are sort of things in the yellow zone because they tend to be not unhealthy in any way, but you can easily overeat them, or they can easily be sort of marketed as healthy when they aren't, or they'll be considered high protein on the marketing, and you go look at it, it's like 5 grams of protein. That's not a lot of protein at all. So that being said, the yellow zone is sort of in between the green and the red. You can have some of it. You're most likely to be able to moderate it, and that's going to put you really far behind your goal, but you don't want to have it as often as your green light foods. So take a look at that infographic I'm sending over. Tell me if you have any questions about that. I'd love to hear some of you guys. Tell me a little bit about what your red light, green light, and maybe yellow light foods might be.